Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, February 3, 2022. Government will be scaling up the number of indigent houses provided through the new social housing program, NSHP. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement on Wednesday as he pointed out that there was an estimated 10,000 Jamaicans living in conditions considered well below standard. He says government has already sorted out the administrative, technical and construction issues and is now ready to expand the NSHP to reach even more of these families whose homes are uninhabitable.
In the next budget iteration, which would start in April of next year, we're going to be a little bit more ambitious with what we can do, and we will be incorporating new building modalities. So some of the solutions that were brought to us in the housing design competition, which used alternative materials such as containers and other types of designs, will be deployed. So the housing solutions that we will use may not always be block and steel. There may be other designs. So we will be able to bring the cost down, but increase the number of housing solutions.
The Prime Minister was addressing a ceremony on Wednesday to hand over 2 housing units in the constituency of Northeast St. Andrew. Shirley Leon and Lloyd Edwards are the latest beneficiaries, and theirs are among 46 units that have so far been completed under the new social housing program. Another 26 units are under construction. Mr. Holness used the occasion to appeal for private sector partnerships to build more of these homes for vulnerable Jamaicans.
So there is an opportunity for the private sector who would want to fulfill their corporate social responsibility. Who knows, they may have a factory or a store in an area and they know of a family or two who are living in really deplorable conditions and they would want to help. Well, there is this program, the new social housing program.
59 of these 60 sites in Phase 1 and 2 of government's Community Wi-Fi initiative have been established. The remaining 130 sites are expected to be completed by March 31 of this year. Technology Minister Darrell Vaz says the ministry remains committed to increasing the number of public Wi-Fi hotspots by 7 additional sites.
These sites are at varying stages of implementation, and I'm pleased to report that we're on track to meet this target, and Jamaica will have a total of 20 public Wi-Fi hotspots across the country by March 31st.
Minister Vaz was addressing Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives. He revealed that, to date, the ministry has completed 7 new community access points across the island and has provided connectivity to 3 sites in support of the disabled community. Additionally, the Phase 1 community Wi-Fi site of Facey District in northeastern St. Catherine has been retendered. The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service has commenced a series of stakeholder meetings on the public sector wage restructuring review, which is slated to begin April 1. Portfolio Minister Dr. Nigel Clark told the House of Representatives on Tuesday that all bargaining groups representing government employees were engaged last week and provided with an overview of what is to come.
We will continue those consultations, but in smaller groups, maybe on an individual bargaining group basis, or groups that are similarly aligned and small in size. We might consider them together. We'll speak to members, get parliamentarians together, get whoever is paid, whoever can be considered a public servant. We intend to reach out with information and to engage in some kind of, to engage in ensuring people understand the principles behind the restructuring and what to expect.
The review is intended to overhaul the structure of salaries and other emoluments in the public service to make them more equitable. Implementation of the Public Sector Compensation Review is expected during the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Minister of Science, Energy and Technology Darrell Vaz says petroleum tanker drivers are set to benefit from a rate increase. He was speaking in Parliament on Tuesday. Minister Vaz says that since 2013, wage negotiations between the Petroleum Tanker Drivers Association, PTDA, and the Petroleum Haulage Contractors Association, PHCA, have been blocked because of the disbanding of the PHCA. He He says this led to the establishment of the Joint Petroleum Working Group, JPWG, in October of last year to improve economic conditions for the tanker drivers and draft a safety driver manual to improve training and upskilling.
This group was mandated to finalize recommendations for a minimum economic rate and related improvements to the employment conditions of petroleum tanker drivers.
The minister says the JPWG agreed on a minimum economic rate of $1,000 per hour based on the industry norms in relation to hazardous materials and risk factors. This represents a 270% increase in relation to the lowest rate paid to tanker drivers, which equates to about $370 per hour, or the equivalent of $14,640 for a 40-hour work week. Minister Vaz says the agreed haulage contractor and tanker driver rates were translated from hourly rates to a per litre per trip basis to take into consideration distance covered and volumes transported. And finally, the Jamaica Tourist Board, JTB, is supporting the Jamaica Bobsleigh team's participation in this year's Winter Olympics with a sponsorship of $20,000. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett made the announcement during a recent virtual joint press conference between the JTB and the Jamaica Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation. He says at the upcoming Games, to be held in Beijing, a shining spotlight will be on the bobsleigh athletes, and they will serve as Jamaica's ambassadors to the world, bringing additional positive awareness for Jamaica among viewers and sports fans. The minister also disclosed that a new tourism product is to be launched that will rely heavily on sport and entertainment. He says sport tourism is going to be a critical pillar on which this new tourism is going to be based. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.